if you do not brush your teeth, plaque builds up around your gums and on your teeth. And then every 6 months we go to the dentist and we get that plaque removed, right? Professionally. Well, if you don't sleep, there's a thing called amyloid plaque that builds up in your brain. And you know when amyloid plaque is most efficiently removed from your body? You guessed it, during deep sleep. Hope everybody's doing well. This is Josiah Igono of the All Things Performance Podcast, and we have a great topic today. It's something that many people are thinking about. A lot of athletes from all over, whether you're a professional, collegiate, amateur athlete, high school athlete, parents are thinking about this. Coaches, youth organizations are thinking about this. There was a stat that came out recently, and it was something crazy. Like, don't get on me for misquoting this because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I believe that this number is accurate, and I know that it's very close. And the statistics said that about 75% of kids are quitting sports before age 13. By age 13, they're quitting. They're opting out. They're not playing anymore, and that's amazing. You know, that's an amazing statistic. It's a sad statistic. And the culprit of that, there's a lot of different things, but the main culprit is burnout. It's burnout. And burnout is something that, I have spoken a lot about in the past. It's something that I teach on regularly. I've even written a book on burnout. I've even written a book on it. I'm going to be talking more about that here in a little bit. I see this in the world of education. I see this in the world of athletics. I see this in the first responder world. I see this in academia. Burnout is a real thing. This badge of honor that a lot of people carry in terms of work, produce. I love coffee, right? I love coffee, man. I got some coffee right here. You know what I'm saying? I got some coffee right here. And we live in this world where it's just like, man, 24/7, we have to produce, we have to perform, don't sleep. You got to grind. And it's having a detrimental effect on performance. And so, before we get into it, I will say this. If you go I'm big on definitions. Those of you who followed me for any amount of time and All Things Performance for any amount of time, you know that I'm big on definitions. When you start looking at definitions, it's very important because if you don't know the definition, you can't understand the concept. And if you don't understand the concept, then you can't talk about big picture. And in order for us to change this big picture of 75% are quitting before the age of 13, we have to go back to the basic definitions. And when you start looking at burnout, if you go, I got some homework for you guys. Go and look at the definition of burnout on the American Psychological Association's website. Go look at that definition. The APA's definition of burnout. And when I tell you guys that definition is like a paragraph plus long, it's a paragraph plus long, right? It's crazy how in-depth and to what extent and lengths they've taken this term burnout to define it. But I'm going to make it simple for you and still keep the integrity of the word and of the definition. When you look at burnout, guys, burnout is overreaching and overexertion. That's what it is. It's overreaching and it's overexertion, right? Continually reaching outside of myself, continually exerting myself and not being able to recover properly, right? Burnout is something that a lot of people face, and it's something that we have to have the right tools in place to be able to properly address it. And so that's what we're going to do today. When you start looking at burnout, there's an acronym that I like to use, right? How can you tell if your athlete is burnt out? How can you tell if you're experiencing burnout? There are different metrics that you can use, but this acronym is helpful because you can just ask yourself these questions. And if you've been experiencing these things for anywhere between 2 or 3 weeks or more, you're probably burnt out. And there's some things that you need to keep in mind in terms of addressing it, right? So again, what is burnout? It's overreaching, overexertion. So this acronym that I developed, B.U.R.N, B-U-R-N, when you think burn, think burnout. Or when you think burnout, think burn, vice versa, whatever. And you can use this with your athletes. You can use this with yourself. but it's a good talking point in terms of how do you know that somebody's burnt out. The B stands for boredom. Are you experiencing excessive boredom? The sport that you once loved, you're just getting bored, right? It's the same people, same thing, same referees, same this, same that, and it's not fun for you anymore. If you're experiencing burnout, oftentimes people they will report feeling boredom, and the boredom is usually, it's out of character and out of line in terms of who you are, right? The reason why we play sports because we love to play them. And sometimes we get to a place either because of familial pressure or either because of societal pressure or whatever. We just feel like we just have to keep on playing to make everybody else happy, but we're burnt out. We are bored too. Okay. The U stands for unusual fatigue or exhaustion. You and I both know that there's a difference between, man, I'm tired, and man, I'm tired, man. There's a difference. There's a difference. If you are feeling unusual fatigue or exhaustion, where you are sleeping at practice, you are drowsy all day, you are being affected in multiple different areas of life, not called your sport, right? And you're having a hard time getting things going, you might be experiencing burnout. So the U is unusual fatigue or exhaustion. The R is reduced performance and production. Reduced performance and production. You see a lot of athletes who are experiencing burnout. You can see it in their stat line. You can see it in their measurables. You used to go 18 out of 20 from your free throws. Now you're only going 10 out of 20. What's wrong? What's going on? You used to never drop footballs when they were thrown to you, but now you have there's days where you have multiple drops in a row. What's going on? Right? You used to be one of the best hitters on your team, but now it's just like you couldn't even hit a beach ball coming at you in slow motion. What's going on? You might be burnt out. When you start seeing your statistics and your measurables swaying severely away from what you used to normally do, reduce production and productivity, you might be experiencing burnout. These are things, ladies and gentlemen, that you need to keep in mind when you start looking at this topic in depth. And then the N is negativity or a negative outlook. You're just always negative. You don't like the coaches. You don't like the referees. You don't like your teammates. You don't like how far practice is away. You don't like that you practice 3 hours. You don't like that you don't have an off day. You find everything in anybody to be negative about and towards. If this is you and you've been experiencing these things, right? Boredom, unusual fatigue or exhaustion, reduced performance and productivity, negativity and a negative outlook. If you've been experiencing any of these things for long periods of time, you might be burnt out. And guess what? Congratulations, you're normal. And so what I want to do is I want to give you guys a few ways to get around burnout and some different ways to look at it. You know, one of the things that I'm a big believer in is giving credit to where credit is due, right? When you start looking at burnout, there's a model in psychology called the biomedical model. And within the biomedical model, anytime somebody was sick, right, and they were unhealthy, what is health? Health, as a general definition, is something or someone that is free from sickness and or disease, right? So back in the day when somebody was sick, the biomedical model would go in and try to cure the physiology. It would try to cure the body. That's all doctors would look at. They would just look at the body. Oh, the biomarkers, you're high here, you're low here. Let's give you some medicine. Let's give you this treatment to cure the bodily issues. And then in 1977, there was a gentleman by the name of Dr. George Engel in 1977. He said, guys, health, this thing that we're calling health, it's more than just the biology of the human body. It's more than just an individual's biology. It has everything to do with their environment. It has everything to do with their mindset, their psychology, and their body. So he developed this term called the biopsychosocial model, which is a very powerful model in the world of science. And it's one that is more robust than just the biomedical model, just, seeing something wrong and then giving somebody medicine for it. Right. And so when you start talking about burnout, I believe that the way that you attack burnout is by using a robust model like the biopsychosocial model. The biopsychosocial model. It's a big word, but it's really easy. Biopsychosocial. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's a big word, but it's really easy to say. And then the more and more you start saying it, the better it rolls off. And everybody's like, oh man, that's amazing. What is that? What is that? You can tell. Biopsychosocial model, right? So when you start looking at bio has everything to do with your body. It has everything to do with taking care of the health of your body. Before I begin, there's a book that I wrote. Here's the book right here. I'm going to put it on the screen. I'll probably attach a link to it. Here's the book. The book is called Beating Burnout, An Athlete's Guide to Relentless Recovery. Beating Burnouts right here. I cover this in the book. I cover all these areas in the book. So when you start talking about bio has everything to do with your body. So what are ways that you can build up after you've been burnt out? One of them is sleep, right? Sleep is the new currency of success. It's the new currency. Why is it now that we have, better life expectancies, better innovations in research? People are living longer, but we have an explosion of brain-based diseases and an explosion of a lot of issues that have everything to do, my friends, with a lack of sleep. Right? Sleep affects every physiological function in your body. And those of us who are like, oh, we're about to grind. Oh, I'm grinding. I'm caffeinated. A lot of us are doing that. I was doing that. I still do that sometimes, and it's not good. I'm not bragging about it, but it's having a detrimental effect on the back end. If you do not brush your teeth, plaque builds up around your gums and on your teeth. And then every 6 months we go to the dentist and we get that plaque removed, right? Professionally. Well, if you don't sleep, there's a thing called amyloid plaque that builds up in your brain. And you know when amyloid plaque is most efficiently removed from your body? You guessed it, during deep sleep. That's when it's most efficiently removed, during deep sleep. And when you sleep, you are, in essence, flushing all that stuff out, and you are allowing your body to heal. So sleep is one of them. It's a very easy one, and it's free, right? In terms of your biology. So biopsychosocial, that's one. Another one for your biology is massage or progressive muscle relaxation. Another one for your biology could be exercise. Did you guys know that, like, literally, like, even though you're athletes and you're always training, when you exercise, especially light exercise or different forms of exercise, it actually helps you to recover and to reset, right? Many of us, it's our sport 24/7. And what we need to do is we need to go do something else, right? There are many athletes that don't play golf professionally, but they go and literally play golf to help reset, right? They will see massage therapists to help, flush out the toxins and help their body to reset. There's so many different things. And again, there's 27 different areas of this that I cover in this book, but those are just a couple areas as it relates to your body, right? Another area, so let's go to your psychology. Reading is a way to help your body reset and recover when you're feeling burnt out. Before I continue, I will say this. There's a quote that I talk about in this book. I'm going to share it right here. And it goes like this. If your output is greater than your intake, then your upkeep will be your downfall. If your output is greater than your intake, then your upkeep will be your downfall. So many athletes are giving, practicing, competing, training. They're doing all this activity by way of output, but they're not putting anything back in. in terms of their rest and their recovery. They are not redeeming that which was lost. That's what recovery is. And so what happens is that their upkeep becomes their downfall. They start doggy paddling in the middle of the ocean. And you and I both know, I don't care how good you know how to swim, you cannot doggy paddle in the middle of the ocean for long. If your output is greater than your intake, then your upkeep will be your downfall. And so when you start talking about the psycho side, right? Biopsycho, reading helps with your psychology. Things like praying. Do you know that certain types of prayer, like the prayers of thanksgiving, have a positive impact on your mental health and well-being? It's amazing, right? Entertainment, watching comedy, watching a funny show, laughing. Did you know that laughing releases endorphins, oxytocins, dopamine into your bloodstream? That helps improve mood. It helps you to feel recovered. Right? So when it comes to burnout, guys, there's a lot of different ways to do that. And then you get to social, biopsychosocial, mind, body, environment. Did you know that the color of the paint in your home affects your mental health and well-being? Did you know that? There's a reason why McDonald's and Sonic and In-N-Out Burger and Taco Bell, they use certain colors in their color scheme. There's a reason why. People don't go to fast food restaurants and hang out there for hours. It's designed to get you in, feed you, and get you out. Some of us have, in our when it comes to our social, we have living spaces that are not healthy. Color of our paint, plants in our home, healthy relationships in terms of who lives in our homes or our apartments or our dorms with us. Some of you have bad living situations and it's affecting everything else in your life. You know, these constructs such as love and all these different things, social. When you start looking at nature, did you guys know that just simply going outside barefoot and having contact with the dirt, with the grass, with the sand, with the ocean, looking at the blue skies and looking at the fractals in the clouds and on trees, did you guys know that that has a positive impact on your performance? And many of us are just going about it just, like machines. And it's not helping us in terms of our performance. And so these are just areas, guys, that we can use to help to heighten and augment our performance, help us to rest and help us to recover and to truly beat burnout. If you want further resources on this, again, I have a book called Beating Burnout. It's available where you can find your books, and it gives you 27 ways in the biopsychosocial model to attack this area. If your output is greater than your intake, then your upkeep will be your downfall. Hope this was helpful. Would love to hear what you guys think. God bless you. And this is Josiah Igono signing out.